once said, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." This powerful motto impacted my life in a major way. Let's unveil how. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bhavdeep Kaur, and I'm an entrepreneur and an influencer. I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to come here and share my story with you. So thank you so much for having me, and I'll be immensely happy if even one of you is inspired by it. So okay, story time. I come from a middle class background. I attended a convent school where the contrast was striking. Parents looked elegant and polished, and students came in luxurious cars. They wore the trendiest clothes, had amazing stationery, and they looked so polished. Whereas I felt invisible, unnoticed, and overshadowed by those who seemed more intelligent, attractive, and empowering. I would shy away on quiz days and take a sick leave. And when my teacher would be selecting students for debates, I would just hide under my chair. Why? Because I dreaded the exposure of my average academic performance. But there was one area where I thrived: art and craft. In the sanctuary of my art classroom, the creativity flourished, and I had a voice. I would ask questions, I would engage with teachers, and I would actively participate. This is where I truly shone, a testament of my personal and creative different talent. Now, in every class, be it geography, math, science, I would sit back silently, open the last page of my notebook, and start sketching designs. This was my way of experiencing something that I did not in real life. I would imagine myself as someone wearing those designs, grabbing all the eyeballs and all the attention. After all, that's what a teenager wants, right? Recognition and all the eyeballs. Fast forward to when I was 14 or 15 years of age. I find myself in a science class tuition on a test day, where my teacher briefly left the room and I could not resist but start sketching designs again on the last page of my paper. As soon as she came, she thought that I was cheating and swiftly took the notebook away from me, grabbing me by the ear. And when she saw the sketches, she called my mother immediately. Now, to my astonishment, instead of complaining or reprimanding me, she started to praise my sketches. She told my mother that I'm very creative and that she should take this talent of mine very seriously. Now, this unexpected appreciation and support from my science teacher was a turning point. It gave me the confidence and the validation that I had been longing for, making me believe in myself. So when I was contemplating my future, I knew very early on what I wanted to become: a designer. And when the time came when you go to your parents and decide the colleges to apply for, I broke the news to them and I told them this is what I want to do. But unfortunately, the news was met with disappointment and disapproval. My mother, being a literature professor, and my father holding the position of an additional deputy commissioner at that time, had different expectations. They wanted me to choose a conventional path like every other Indian parent would want, and dismissed the fact that I wanted to go to a fashion school. They insisted that I pursue commerce and asked me, "Do you really want to be a mere seamstress?" But me being the middle child, I was very rebellious and stood my ground. I knew what I wanted, so I fought with my parents seeking for a compromise. Now my mother came with a solution. She said, I could open my fashion studio immediately on one condition, that I have to pursue commerce alongside. Now what do you think I did? I agreed. I eagerly agreed. I jumped on the opportunity because this fast forwarded my dreams. After all, opening a fashion studio or starting a fashion label is the ultimate goal of a fashion student, even after completing the degree. Now at 17, with a keen eye for fashion but limited resources, I design a dress with really nice fabric that I sourced from a thrift market and a local tailor that I and my mom, we both found and got the dress stitched. Now I wore this dress to my 18th birthday. I got numerous compliments from all my friends, but initially I was very shy to share that I got it tailor-made rather than from a high-end designer brand. I eventually shared my truth. And to my surprise, my friends were thrilled. They wanted similar dresses of their own. Now this unexpected enthusiasm, it bucked me up and it started my fashion journey with no investment, no infrastructure, not even a single sewing machine. I got 4 to 5 orders from friends and family and we started getting them made. After 3 to 4 weeks, I sat with my sister and we decided that we should keep a catchy name and we came up with Young Berry. We created a Facebook page, we uploaded the designs, we got the label registered, we took care of all the branding and we started receiving orders from Facebook, still not having any infrastructure or any showroom, nothing at all. We started with a single rod hanger stand in my room, which eventually turned into a room brimming with clothes. Now, my days would look somewhat like this. In the morning, I would be in the college. By noon, I would pick my mother from her workplace. We would both go source fabrics for the ongoing orders. There was usually no time for lunch because clients would already be waiting. From 3 to 8:30 p.m., we handled clients. We conducted trials and fittings. We booked orders. But after 8:30, our work did not end. We would gather the team of our tailors, make them sit, give them tasks for the next day, and give them orders of new creations. Now, this late night collaboration was crucial to ensure that all the ends were met, all the deadlines were met, and all the details were in place. Now, it's been 5 to 6 years. My routine still looks like the same, like 3 to 8:30 is the unwavering time of our studio. And in this time, I managed to complete my graduation and post-graduation with a university position. We began with products ranging from 500 to 2500, which included dresses, shirts, pants, and eventually we increased the range as in how the cash flow increased. This journey was a very tough one and it taught me a lot. We got enormous orders, we got a lot of appreciation and incredible educational and rewarding experience. Over the years, I gained knowledge and evolved. From serving and offering casual wear, we started creating custom couture pieces which ranged from 15,000 to 1,50,000. Now, we boasted a team of more than 40 individuals. We have done numerous fashion shows and exhibitions all over India and abroad. We have judged numerous fashion shows. We have trained students from all the leading universities such as NIFT and Pearl, universities that I once wanted to attend. We got featured in leading magazines such as Vogue. We received numerous awards of appreciation and also opened a store in Delhi. We launched our e-commerce website, and all of these milestones reflecting our vision. You know how they say, walk slowly and you will go far. Our designs and growth received recognition and appreciation from everywhere. And it motivated us to strive for consistency every single day. Now, this wouldn't have been possible without the unwavering support of my parents. I often get the credit because I'm the face of the brand, but none of this would have been possible without my partner, my mentor, my best friend, which is my mother, Dr. Iqbal Kaur. It is very important to surround yourself with people who support you, who love you unconditionally, and who genuinely want the best for you, and I was lucky enough to have that. Now here's a little piece of advice for all the students here. Do not ever doubt yourself. It's all finding your ikigai. Ikigai is a reason of being. Mine was fashion, yours could be writing, yours could be healthy eating, yours could be anything at all, fitness, healthcare, anything. Just believe in yourself. There's another saying from the book that I really love, Ikigai. Just remember to keep yourself busy, doing what you love, surrounded by people that you love. I would give another piece of advice for all the parents present here, because that is equally important. Always encourage your children when they come to you with ideas about their future, because you are their primary source of validation. And one critical statement from you can break them completely. And on the other hand, if you support them, your support can be such a beautiful thing in fulfilling their dreams and aspirations. I'd like to conclude by saying that I'm still growing, still learning, still dreaming bigger than ever. I started with no investment, no infrastructure, no formal education, with the resources I had, making the most of my circumstances. But this journey was not an easy one. We had a lot of highs and lows, and we still thrived and persisted. You know how Aisha Tyler says, success is not the absence of failure, it is the persistence through failure. Thank you.